Okay, today we are playing a game on Dorado. We are in the Platinum SR range, and we'll be playing Genji on attack and Moira on defense. So why, you might ask, are we currently looking at Ana? Well, that's because we haven't actually picked Genji yet. We're Team 2, and we're having a bit of trouble deciding what we're gonna be. Dragon has yet to pick anything at all, and we're currently Bridget, so it's gonna take a second for everything to crystallize, but don't worry, we are going to play Genji. Any moment now. Any moment now. Now we're Zarya. Perfect. That's a little bit closer to Genji. Honest, I can't hear a damn thing. I think that's just the video's got no sound coming out of it. Nice. And now we're Genji. Look, there we go in the alleyway, scampering off. Hold on. It's about to change. We finally made it. We're finally Genji. It only took us 20 seconds. So we've immediately just tried to, like, climb right up on top of them. Not very excited to do that, mostly because we don't know what the fuck's gonna be up there yet. So if we come up the wall and find a McCree, then we'll be pretty upset about that, won't we? So, and that's fairly likely to happen these days. So that was a scary maneuver we made, but we didn't get punished for it. Ergo, we do not have to learn. We almost killed Baptiste, but not quite, sadly. Widow is way the fuck off by herself, and so we're going to go after her. We did use the left click here. I'm just going to point this out because, you know, I like to point this out every time. We did do the line, the left click right there, when we are close enough to feasibly get all of the parts of the fan to hit her, or at least 2 of them, which is also acceptable. And you just end up doing more damage because you don't have, or more DPS because you don't have to throw them all one at a time. This is a better distance to be using the left click on because the Moira is still far enough away that we're only going to hit her with one of the shurikens, which is never going to be enough to kill Moira through her lifesteal. So that would be a better time to use the left click rather than the right click. I understand it is easier to get one to hit when you're using the right click, but you want to actually try and kill the person. We went for a very risky play right there. We were in full view of a few bad men. The Widowmaker is bad, though, so we didn't die. Hold on. Okay, not yet. I'm looking for the timeline because there are questions related to specific points in the video. Ergo, we will pause at those points. And I just saw a Roadhog, and I was like, oh, that's time. It is not time yet. What happened here? We did kill Widowmaker, so that was pretty sick, fairly unexpected, and those are the best kills you get. When you hit someone once and they die, oh shit, oh, I didn't even know, I guess I'm the greatest. Good job, me. That's how I always feel about it anyway. So yeah, we pretty much just dropped down in front of the enemy team and took a big old chunk of damage. And we didn't really look before we leapt either. We did just sort of fall down into the street, and it turns out they were all looking right at us, so hey, look before you leap, is the moral of the story right there. We do almost have Dragon Blade built up now. Ana is very close to having Nano Boost as well. Just look how fast Nano Boost charges, dude. She's at 58%, and now, look at that, not even 5 seconds later, she is at 75 almost %. Isn't that incredible? So we would like to hold it until then, and conveniently enough, it looks like we're going to win this team fight without even really needing any input with the fight, so that's nice. And we're after the Moira. Oh, I didn't realize your Fade was going to be back up again so soon. I've done a bad job of counting, it turns out. It's alright, I've been there. She's like, get this orb out. She's holding down left click because her orb cooldown is like not far away. She's like, get this orb out there. There's a fucking Genji on me. So she just ends up spraying the floor and looks like a fool. So now it turns out they have a Doomfist, dreadfully inconvenient for us as Genji, Doomfist being quite good at killing us, and we can't deflect most of what he's about. Here is... no, this is not... oh, no, yeah, this is the part. Alright, so here we get slapped and murdered. And in the email, it says, at 2:52, I was trying to bait Hook, proving I'm too smart for him, and was too greedy and slow on the draw, proving I'm not. Question 1. When should I deflect? When he looks at me? Is this a high-risk, low-reward situation and I'm done for trying to slowly chip away and break his spirit? Chipping away and breaking his spirit is fine, but it's more the fact that we're just going straight at the enemy team that's the more concerning part about it, to be honest with you. The thing is with, like, deflecting Roadhog's hook is that, like, you're ultimately gambling on when he does it, because it's very hard to react to him throwing the hook, and the classic, thing to teach a Roadhog player is when you look at a Genji melee then hook. Because if you just melee attack at the Genji, then there's a likelihood he'll just see you move the arm and assume that's the hook coming and deflect, and then at that point you haven't hooked, you just used your melee, so then you hook him after the deflect ends. So it's risky to do it when he looks right at you, because if the Roadhog knows how to play the matchup, he isn't just gonna hook you immediately. This is the case with anything like this, where like it's risky to deflect McCree right as he looks at you, because if the McCree is paying attention to the fact you're playing Genji, he'll look at you, go, "The fuck are you doing, dude?" and then throw it at your feet instead, right? Or wait till deflect is over, throw it to the side of you, above you, anything, right? So it's always a risky one to go for, like the immediate deflect when they look at you, because they know you're Genji, they know what you're about, so half of it becomes playing around that. It's fine to chip away at the Roadhog, but you're better off not doing it from, like, this kind of distance. Roadhog being a great source of ult charge is always a nice one to bully around, but we're just running straight at him, Doomfist and Zenyatta, after also going past their Reinhardt. So it's risky for reasons other than just Roadhog, and if we're just talking about, like, harassing Roadhog, we can do that from way further away as Genji, and not have to play the game at all. Then we can just chip away at him from outside of his range and break his spirit instead. And then we're further away, makes it easier to react to, it's harder for him to hook, blah blah blah, a bunch of different things. So, now there's nothing wrong with that exactly, it's a matter of, you can do it from where Roadhog can't really hurt you, so that's usually just going to be better to do. And when you know there's a Roadhog there, just kind of like look at what he does. When he turns to you, does he immediately hook? You know, just like give it a couple of like probing attempts where you really cautiously approach him and see if like as soon as he turns around and sees you, he just hooks. If so, then you know that's his pattern, he's gonna do that, and then it's safer to deflect right as he looks at you because you've seen that that's his habit. And then you can adapt to it. But if he doesn't do that, if he turns and just looks at you, then you know not to deflect right as he looks at you because he's smarter than that. So you gotta kind of feel it out in this kind of situation, really. But what we did right there was riskier for reasons other than Roadhog. So hold on, let me move. There's more questions in here, so I've got to get it where I can actually see the next time. Oh, it's actually very close to now. How about that? Good thing I looked rather than forgetting. We did just skirt right past that Junkrat trap, and it was very scary. Again, we are just slowly marching our way up the street towards them. We're not really attempting to put any moves on them other than double jumping across the street, but we might have been trying to get away from the tire because I can't hear the game, so I don't know when we heard that, but we were just slowly marching towards the enemy team, not really playing Genji. You know, we want to make use of all of our movement abilities if we're playing a hero that's got funky movement abilities, rather than just walking at him. So, anyway, we might have also been planning to try and use Dragon Blade in the near future, seeing as Ana does have Nano Boost right now, but we were still just doing a risky maneuver. So, at 4:07, I was hit by a junk. I was going to press X, but I personally get annoyed by people spamming it, making me afraid of doing the same to my group. Question 2. As someone who almost exclusively uses chat, is that a problem for most support mains? Is dying once in a while due to a lack of attention from healers worth avoiding your team to tilt? I mean, I just pushed the button because, like, it's one of those things where, like, yeah, pressing X is going to annoy some people. I also personally think it depends on, like, the hero that it comes from. Because I know that if I'm playing a healer and I hear Widowmaker press X and I just hear her go, "Heal me!" I'm like, I don't fucking want to, bitch. You want to say please? You know? So I think part of it, when you hear the Genji push X, you go, oh, there goes Genji. Fucking ninjas. But, like, it's one of those things where you have the button for a reason. Like, just push the button. If you need healing, you need healing. It's, like, more their issue for getting upset about it, if they're gonna get upset about it. Just, like, don't push it when you've taken... Don't push it and spam it when you've taken, like, chip damage, you know? Like, don't do that. But if you're at 80 out of 200 health like we are right now, you are justified in your desire to push the X button. So, like, if you need healing, just push the I need healing button. You don't need to be that self-conscious about it. I do it, and I play heroes like Ashe, who people also think, like, there goes the Ashe player, you know, like, so. Just push the button, dude. It's, like, there for a reason, you know? And if they get upset about it, just don't do it again, you know? People are so likely to tilt in this game anyway, like, you know, such is life. If they're gonna tilt, like, if they're gonna tilt over you pushing the I need healing button, they're gonna tilt over something, dude. Like, it's gonna happen. Poking our face out again while we are at 80 health before being healed is the risky play there, though, and we shouldn't have done that one, so that was scary as well. We should wait till we're healthy again before sticking our face out. We should be, like, trying to get away right now, also, because we are currently at 41 health. We should be, like, trying to get some distance between us and the bad men. We were also deflecting right at a Moira, who is not exactly a good one to deflect at, unless you're trying to eat her orbs. So, Zenyatta's using Transcendence is not actually enough to save you from Nanoblade, because if you cut and then dash immediately, you actually kill the person. We messed up the second one. I was like, why didn't we kill the Junkrat? We killed the Moira, but we didn't have the dash. We messed it up a little bit on getting the Junkrat, but you can kill people through Trance with Nanoblade. The cut and the dash does just enough to kill someone through it. Fun fact if you play Genji. So I'm just keeping an eye on the timeline. We got some time yet. We are close to the next one, though. They're fairly closely packed questions, you might have noticed. So we did an adequate job of killing the bad men. This is funny. Everybody's surprised to see everybody. So, I'm not sure if it took us a second to process that the bad man is here, because he's just kind of chilling, or if we decided that we wanted to BM him first. Just kill the dude. If the intention was to, like, say hello right as he turned, don't do that. Just, like, kill the guy. It's not worth it. Several of our team have died, both our healers and our Reinhardt, so things are not looking good right here, unless they're gonna C9 the point, which is always possible. Moira's going fucking in on our team over here, as we can see. We're very low health, so we should not be trying to get into a fight with Moira right now, because she doesn't exactly have to try very hard to get us. While she was dealing with the McCree, we could have just scurried up the wall onto the high ground, and then Moira doesn't need to know we were ever here. And then we could have regrouped with our team instead of having to die to regroup with our team. Functionally has accomplished the same thing, but we don't want to die, you know? Dying is bad. So, we are fairly close to having Dragon Blade built up again. I think we're just going to attempt to back cap at this point, because the enemy team is pushing fairly up. And a bunch of our teammates just died, so we should probably wait for them to be back before we do this, huh? Hopefully Roadhog doesn't waste his ultimate. I'm looking at his ult charge right now. Like, don't you push that button. We give it a peek. Oh, here comes McCree. Is this the point? Yeah, this is the point. Let's see how the fight goes first. Oh. So, at 6:23, I try to press into Kree with my E, slightly tilted up to extend the hitbox and moving side to side, holding down mouse 2 in melee. I panished and dashed to the side to avoid getting hit by Flash and making it as hard as possible to hit me if he did. Is that the correct play, or am I misinformed? So, I'm not a Genji player, so I can't tell you all the intricacies of the Genji-McCree matchup, because that ain't me. Let's go back and look at it again, though. So we do deflect, like, really early, pretty much, and we do dodge the flashbang, so that's the important thing. Really, just, like, it's kind of just aim better, to be honest with you, because we messed up getting the deflect on the flashbang. We did it early, because he, like, we're still a little far away from him. McCree players like to wait for you to be real fucking close to him, right? So, he's also probably expecting us to use deflect, so he's waiting for that first. But then we dodge the flashbang with the dash, so, you know, that's cool. I don't know that we needed to use the dash, but, you know, this is going to be kind of hindsight is 2020 to say it after this way. Nah, like, we basically saw him start doing it and then dashed up to dodge it. It's just like, if we aimed better, right there, rather than missing all of the shurikens, it would have been, you like, we would have gotten the kill. So, I mean, the mistake, I would say, is just deflecting early. We haven't really fought McCree up until this point, so we don't know if he's gonna flash as soon as he looks at us, which is the scary part, but... I mean, we're in Plat, so I would expect the McCree player to have played against a Genji or two by this point, so I would expect him to not just immediately flashbang us, and we were a little far away at the time anyway. So I would say that was more the mistake than anything else, but given we made the initial mistake, I think it was nice that we dodged the flashbang at all. There's just then we didn't aim well enough to actually finish him off after that, because it was still definitely feasible to do it even after using the dash to dodge. Sometimes, you know, it's not necessarily that much easier, that great advice, right? But if we just hit him with some of the shurikens, dude, we would have killed him. So, sometimes, you know, the play isn't really a mistake in anything like decision-making wise, but sometimes it's more mechanical than anything else. And given we made the initial mistake, we recovered fine, then just didn't quite seal the kill, is what I would say to it. I didn't move this along so I could see what the next timeline was. Oh, it's fucking miles away, mate. Fucking ages. By which I mean 2 minutes and like 10 seconds. So we decide we're going to use Dragon Blade right here. We did kill the Moira. The frame rate goes to shit as soon as we start doing anything active, which is a little inconvenient. We basically just like dashed up to the Junkrat when he mined away, didn't we? Yeah, right as he mined, we'd like dash under him, and then we're like, where'd he go? Where'd he go? Back it up a little bit. So, Dragon Blading looks like it is definitely the play that we're going for right now. And we pretty much just go on the Moira as soon as we see her. What I will say is that we don't know where McCree is during this, which is the scary part of what we're doing, because McCree's the thing that's gonna fuck us up while we're using Dragon Blade, right? Their team doesn't really have much else outside of, like, Reinhardt smacking us to death while we're using Dragon Blade. So not knowing where McCree is when we start using Dragon Blade is scary, because if he's, like, right around that corner as we dash in, which he's actually not far away from being, then we can just, like, dash up to the Moira, and McCree goes, oh, because he's coming out spawn at the time, so... It's risky to go for when you don't know where the heroes like McCree or Bridget are, because they're the ones that'll fuck you up. And if you don't know where they are, there's always the chance they just come around the corner immediately and kill you. Which is more or less what happened, though it took a second to take. Reinhardt's doing a great job of staggering himself. What an absolute god. Look at that juicy stagger when there's 30 seconds left on the clock. Amazing. So McCree got the drop on us right there. I don't know if we heard him coming or not, because I can't hear anything. And as you can see, I'm like jamming the headphones into the socket to make sure it's not me. It's not like you. Because the longer it goes with silence, I'm just like, is it me? Have I actually just gone deaf? Anyway, we did go in also while we still needed to regroup. Reinhardt was staggering himself at the time, so great job, Reinhardt, but we could have been playing more passively since we were waiting for our team as well. We tried to get the kill on get McCree, and it didn't work. It is difficult to get the kill on the McCree as Genji with Deadeye these days, because McCree players have gotten used to that one at this point, but... The best case is usually, like, you appear out of nowhere or, like, late into it and then deflect it back at him, but... Or if you can get, like, right in his face, you can buy time, but, like, doesn't usually work out so well anymore. So now we've entered the Moira segment. We are very close to the next question. I didn't need to skip, because we actually skipped during the replay. Isn't it? I love that we can just see the team comps, dude. It means I have to do way less video editing, and I'm a fan of that. So, it's not a Bastion that's coming. I did have to look at the team to tell, because I just saw a mess of particle effects, and I was like, was there a Bastion in there? There is not a Bastion in there. We are about to be there. So, they're starting to come up the choke point. Our team didn't, like, jump down on them or die or anything, and then we just got slapped in the face by a bunch of bombs. And the question here is, at 10:08, I died. I realized our Ryan was bad and blamed him for not managing his shield, and for me for trusting him. I tried to band-aid the situation by telling him that he doesn't need 100% shield uptime and to let it regen. It didn't help in the slightest. Question 4. how do I deal with bad Rhine players? You basically just have way less faith in them, dude. you just play under the assumption that they might take their shield away from you at any moment, and that they are, like, this guy fully let it break. I could see it, I can't hear it break, but I saw it break right there. Like, sometimes they're gonna just take it out from under you, and they're gonna let it break, and they're not gonna do a good job, so you basically just operate with way less faith in them. And, rather than... Fun fact, the Team Smurf comes from the World of Warcraft 2 days. Shlongor was a god of Warcraft 2, and no one wanted to play him. So he and his roommate, Warp, decided to create new accounts to hide their skill. Oh. How about that? I guess. I don't know if that's true, though I have often wondered, why do we say Smurf? I have wondered that, but I don't know if that's true. Fun trivia, I guess, if it's true. Anyway, so, like, basically, play more around cover. Even if you're going to stand behind the Reinhardt, try and stand in a position where there is cover that you can use. The hardest part is just always that, like, you'll be standing behind the shield, and then they'll just randomly take it down to, like, shield hop, or to use fire strike or something, and then you just get, like, clapped in the face because a bunch of particles slip by and kill you. That's always the scariest part, and the answer to that one is just, if you think Reinhardt's gonna do it, you just don't use Reinhardt's shield, you use hard cover instead. And it's the kind of thing where you'll probably die once or twice to the Reinhardt doing it to you before you realize that Reinhardt's gonna do it. But life is difficult like that sometimes. But basically, you just don't trust him, and use like hard cover rather than his shield. And if you're going to use his shield, position closer to cover still, so that you can use it if you need to. If you're playing someone like Moira, also, just always be and there's a Reinhardt on the other team, just have your finger on the fade button, just in case that he's gonna let your team get earth shattered, because, hey, we got fade, we can dodge that one, but, like, you gotta be ready to dodge it, right? So you can't be just, like, walking around having faith in Reinhardt and then, like, be like, oh, fuck, he's not gonna block it, is he? You know, you gotta hear hammer down and just be ready to do it. But I mean, basically the answer is just you don't trust them and you try to avoid using their shield as little as possible. You know, you can try and communicate with them and all that, but, like, that, you know, a bad player is gonna be bad, especially if they don't want to listen to you as well, so, like, yeah. It sucks, but the answer is basically just don't trust the guy and try to avoid using his shield as much as possible. For some reason, Shlongor was Papa Smurf and Worf was Smurfette. The name stuck. That does sound like believable lore. I'll believe it. That's a story that I'll parrot despite having no idea whether it's true or not, thereby possibly spreading misinformation. I'm all about that, dude. That's like the internet, isn't it, right there? So here comes Riptire. We just saw it coming over the wall, and then we faded away, which is fair enough. We have ended up in a rather awkward spot. I thought that was an enemy Roadhog, and I was like, oh god, and like clenched, but no. It would not be the enemy Roadhog, he just walked straight through us, would he? So by this point, things are wholly fucked, and we shouldn't really be showing our face anymore, because, like, what are we gonna do, dude? Right, what are we gonna do? Half our team's dead, Roadhog's down there, great for Roadhog. Bob's down there as well. Bob is a god, but I don't have that much faith in him, and true enough, Bob didn't save us. So, just fucking hide, dude. Try and get back if you can, otherwise just die faster, because, like, what were we gonna do by that point? So you probably had noticed by this point there isn't a whole lot of time left on the video, and it sure doesn't look like there's gonna be a full hold at this point, does it? So, you know. Did fade away from the Roadhog hook, so that's good. We are real low. That's a situation where I would have just used a healing orb, because we are low, and, was Zenyatta dead at the time? When did Zen die? Zen died right there, so this is where I use a healing orb, because no healing is coming in the near future, and we're half health. It is scary to be walking around at half health as Moira, especially when there's a Widow out there. Now she doesn't need a headshot to kill us. Now we use the healing orb. We just stayed real far back and, like, hid behind this wall for a while, so I guess that's fine. But I would have thrown the healing orb immediately. Even, like, chucking it after the Roadhog, like, what was it really going to do? Unless the geometry was going to be exceedingly kind to us, then that orb ticks on him, like, once, and then it's gone. So even that was optimistic. So, Reinhardt, rather, just got fucking clapped. Roadhog did also get fucking clapped, but I was talking about Reinhardt at the time. It could be going better. I'll say that much. This is one of those games where we've got limited options as the healer right now to really do much about it. You know, we're playing pretty aggressive as Moira, which you can get away with more as Moira because she does have great safety options, but we are playing kind of aggressively, positioning a little on the risky side, but not overly so, I suppose, so not the end of the world. It's not like we're, like, fucking fading into the enemy team or anything, right? So, you know, that's step one for Moira players, figure out not to fade into the enemy team. You might notice we did just fade into the enemy team right there. So, risky, because, I mean, Junkrat already could feasibly kill us by himself, and it turns out Reaper was in this room as well. Reaper was already shadow stepping, so he doesn't get to do anything to us, but just Junkrat alone is enough. And so, like, if he hits us with a bomb and then just throws the mine at us, we fucking die, dude. Like, we fucking die. Disregarding the fact that someone else could and was in the room with him, but we didn't die, so that's nice. But when you're fading into a man, you've got to have a really good reason for doing it, and you've got to be pretty fucking certain it's safe. You got to know that that boy is either real bad or very low, or you've got people to help you. And if you can't confirm those things, you shouldn't risk it. Especially not when you're the main healer, right? Like, if the other healer is like Anna, you know, it's less punishing if you die for it, but you still don't want to die for it, so it's a risky play at the end of the day, and best avoided if possible. So, it's hard to be in this position, because Reinhardt's gone that way, and we are low. We're pretty invested in this fight right now, and we're, like, out in open space. We can back up and just use the wall behind us as cover. Either way, basically what I'm going to say right now is the best thing we could do right here is fade one of two directions, and there's a case to be made for either, though the safer one is just fading behind the corner behind us, and then we can use that as cover, and hopefully heal up before exposing ourselves to them again, because we are currently half health, so that is the safer option. There is, however, a case to be made for fading over here. I have forgotten to start the pen. Great news. Great job, me. Great news. So if we fade over here, you know, we can hope that Reinhardt will hold his shield up. That would be the ideal situation, but as we can see, his shield is close to breaking anyway, and he's currently staring at a Roadhog, Junkrat, and Narissa. So it's going to break before too long anyway. Fortunately, there is hard cover we can use over here as well. So we can fade over to the left side, duck behind the wall. It's a little off screen at this point, but the arch closest to us on the left. We can duck behind there, use that as cover, and then poke out to try and heal Reinhardt and keep him alive. And then we can play close to the wall until our healing orb is up, and then we can throw that at Reinhardt. It will heal us as we leave, and then maybe we're in a better position to hold this point. We're not that far away from Coalescence, so if we can stick kinda close to Reinhardt, heal ourselves, and heal him while this in the next couple seconds, we might feasibly get Coalescence built up for this team fight, and then maybe we hold on to this checkpoint, because we do currently have the spawn advantage, and we're only down one man right now, so it's not like it's completely hopeless. So those are, like, pretty much the two things to do right there, and it basically depends on what you think your odds are of making it out of that team fight alive. And I would have probably gone over to the Reinhardt personally, just because even if I die right there trying to keep him alive, it's not the worst, because attacking the second point on Dorado, they have to wait for the gate to open anyway, so it's going to take them a while to get up here, even if I do die. The fear would be more that, like, if I don't think I can get away with it, I could end up feeding the enemy team more ult charge by keeping Reinhardt alive and, you know, just dragging the fight out longer. But it wasn't completely untenable, so I would have probably hedged on it myself, but, you know, there's a case to be made for basically just disengaging by that point, because it's not like the fight was going incredibly, regardless, especially given the spot we were in at the time. So we've managed to build up Coalescence, so we use it right here. This is pretty much the point to throw in a Healing Orb, because throwing in the Damage Orb while they have Transcendence going right now is a wholly unproductive use of company resources. And right now, like, really, I'm just more interested in keeping people alive. We might have been like, well, the lamp's here, so nobody can die right now. But they could leave the lamp could break, and also the lamp doesn't keep them full health. So I would rather use the Healing Orb right now, because this Damage Orb will not amount to very much, and the fight's not going well, there's a barrier in the way, it might make it hard for me to heal people, and, like, if we die here, it's all over, so I'd rather try and, like, invest all my resources in keeping our tanks alive, rather than doing not a whole lot of damage. If we're at that point really close to getting Coalescence, you might be able to justify it, but even then, the Healing Orb, if you can actually heal people, will usually result in more ult charge than the Damage Orb would, provided there are people to actually heal. I am going to look and see if the YouTube algorithm is fucked up. This is weird. Husband convicted after begging for wife's safe return on TV. That's a weird story. I'm a big fan of Jim Sterling. This was a good video. Still haven't watched this man. It's just like, oh, you follow somebody that uploads Slay the Spire, right? So let's put you some Slay the Spire videos up there. Rather not. 1980s New Mexico State Penitentiary Prison Riot documentary. Gay Hollywood, The Last Taboo, 2009 documentary. Crime, the story of 3 girls who were kidnapped and kept captive for over 10 years. I know that story. Northern Lion's Ironclad ratings. Okay, sure. I like Northern Lion, but this is not Northern Lion. Jack the Ripper, The New Evidence. I'm sure. New plan for finding life on other planets. The Discovery of Alien Planets documentary. Lizzie Borden. Okay. The Syphilis Enigma, medieval disease documentary. So I know what happened here. I found out about this show called Forged in Fire, which is on the History Channel. So I watched a lot of videos about that, and so it's pretty interesting. It's this show where they get a bunch of blacksmiths, and basically, it's competitive blacksmithing, basically. It's pretty cool. So I watched a lot of that, so it's like, he likes, like, depressing content and also stuff that is on the History Channel. So let's put a fuckload of documentaries up there. Yeah, so, you know, great job. You figured that one out. I do watch a lot of documentaries. That was like, when I had a TV, that was all I had on. It was the documentary channels, so, you know, I guess. Anyway, so, way off track. I can't really think of an overarching thing from the videos, and we already answered all the questions, correct? Yes, we did. So, wait. Oh, I let someone take main tank because he was a Ryan main who I was going to play. And then we saw that he was bad. That's always the worst, when someone's like, hey, can I play X? And you're like, alright, I guess I can play another hero. And then they're bad. I should have just kept it, shouldn't I? That's always the worst. Anyway, so, no, I can't think of anything overarching to say, so great job, team. We're done. So thank you very much for watching. If you did, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer. If you felt I answered your questions from the email inadequately, please let me know and I will try to expand further. If you haven't already, you can join our Discord and ask questions more directly and have a conversation about them, or just shitpost with us. I start streaming on Twitch Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, 8 p.m. EST until midnight EST. There's a link to the channel in the description, and if you managed to make it all the way through the video and somehow still enjoyed it, please like the video and subscribe for more content of middling quality in the future, and I hope you found the video helpful.